Morning. Boy, summer just kind of keeps coming a little bit here, doesn't it? Still have some hot weather. Well, hot is all relative. Las Vegas hot, not hot, but it's okay. It's all right. New calendar. Qigong every Sunday morning, 9:15. We're going to have. Oh, is this Healing Sunday? Apparently it is. Good thing Jan's not here when I read this kind of stuff. She has no idea. Course in Miracles afterwards, and then Janice is doing Followers of the Way on Wednesday. That is a time and a day change. So anybody that's interested in Followers of the Way, talk to Janice, say, what is Followers of the Way? And a lot of people go to it. A lot of them love it. Senior Community Picnic on Thursday, September 19th. Where is it? It's probably, it's at the new Hapo Center, which used to be called Track. So that's there. T-shirts and sweatshirts that you could purchase if you really, really wanted to actually wear something like this. So here's one that says, I started out with nothing and I still have most of it. I just want to go fishing and ignore all of my adult problems.
There you go.
I've got gas and I'm not afraid to use it. Probably not the best one. We do have a couple patron saints by the name of George Carlin and John Lennon. May they both rest in peace. John, he said, time you enjoy wasting was not wasted. Good thing. And George, Don Ho can sign autographs 3.4 times faster than Ephraim Zimbalist Jr. It's important to know. Important. It's probably true. It is probably true. A lot of people anyway. So they're two famous people. I could tell you, but yeah. Every noble work is at first impossible. I like that. The conditions of conquest are always easy. We have but to toil a while, endure a while, believe always, and never turn back. And victory belongs to the most persevering, Napoleon. He would know. The Bible is available in nearly 2,500 languages, including Klingon, Vulcan, and Romulan. Gee, I wonder if the translations are all the same. Do what? Probably. People who have no weaknesses are terrible. There's no way of taking advantage of them. Okay. Upper and lowercase letters are named upper and lowercase because in the time when all original print had to be set in individual letters, the uppercase letters were stored in the case on top of the case that stored the smaller lowercase letters. So, Leonardo da Vinci could write with one hand and draw with the other at the same time. Hence, multitasking was invented. So, yeah. Because metal was scarce, the Oscars were given out during World War II were made of wood. There are no clocks in Las Vegas gambling casinos. Is that true, Tracy? Is it true? Okay. Tracy used to live in Las Vegas. In fact, she's going back. So say goodbye to Tracy. Bye, Tracy. So, I just did this one. Never mind. Okay. In an office, after tea break, staff should, these are signs in different locations. In an office, after a tea break, staff should empty the teapot and stand upside down on the draining board. Notice in a health food window, closed due to illness. Spotted in a safari park, elephants, please stay in your car. seen during a conference. For anyone who has children and doesn't know it, there is a daycare on the first floor. Okay. Our picnic, annual picnic, is coming up September 22nd. And anything else I should know before that?
Yeah, I got stuff to talk about.
Well, then let's do it. I have my coffee.
I know it's been a while. Is there supposed to be a light somewhere?
Uh-huh. No light? I didn't do it. Did she put them in backwards?
Oh, she put two together.
I think they're back.
Two
I think-
positives together.
I think it goes the other way.
Oh,
but
does it?
I think so. Here, talking to my microphone.
I'm not sure what that thing is there. Okay, so a couple of things going on. We got the repairs and the painting that's going to start occurring here at the church. Roy is kind of organizing that. I'm going to send around a sign-up sheet. We need people to possibly volunteer to help us out. So we need, and if you have a craft, oh, it's in my hand, sorry. If you have like a craft that you are really good at, in particular building maintenance or anything like that, we're also going to be cleaning out the shed out there, replacing the rope lights in here, doing some repairs on the building, and then painting it. So I'm going to start the sign-up sheet now, so that we can kind of get an idea of volunteers. We're going to need lots of volunteers to help out with this. So that it's name, email address, and phone number if possible. I'll go ahead and start that around.
Valerie, do we know, is it going to be weekend work? Or
It will probably be weekend work. Roy he's going to narrow it down to a date for me. Mid-September, end of September is what he's looking at, and then we'll let you guys know what the date is. Unfortunately, he wasn't quite sure at the board meeting on Friday. Also, the communion for September, it didn't get sent around, and we really could use your help if you're willing to be of service to the church to put together the communion that we all share. Name and phone number on one of the Sundays would be wonderful. Thank you. I'll send that down this aisle. And then the picnic.
Yeah, good note. You put the batteries in wrong, it fries the unit.
Oh. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
I think I'm banished from that task.
Yep, can't touch it anymore, right? Nope. Picnic, 22nd. We will have the service at the park, and it's going to be at Columbia Point, where we've had it in the past. More information to come. I'll start a sign-up sheet around. We're looking into possibly catering it this year. We're looking at prices right now.
So if anybody knows anything, suggests anything, or
Yes, let us know. We're looking at good, but not too expensive. Drumming, we'll have drumming, so you'll bring your drums. So mark your calendars for the 22nd. Church service will be at the park that day.
And it will be a potluck.
And it will be a potluck, yes. So the meat will, let me reverse, the meat will be supplied by catering, but we will also have you guys sign up to add to the meal. All right? I think that's everything.
yay,
Thank you.
cool. Yeah, you betcha. What do I do with Did anybody know what I did with what I had in my hand? I know I had the coffee in my hand. How did I do? It's right where my coffee is. Like, okay, where's my coffee? It's probably with my coffee. And it is. So, all right. A minister decided that a visual demonstration would add emphasis to his Sunday sermon. 4 worms were placed in 4 separate jars. I've done this before, but it's funny. So, the first worm was put into a container of alcohol. The second worm was put into a container of cigarette smoke. The third worm was put into a container of chocolate syrup. The fourth worm was put into a container of good, clean soil. At the conclusion of the sermon, the minister reported the following results. The first worm in alcohol, dead. Second worm in cigarette smoke, dead. Third worm in chocolate syrup, dead. Fourth worm in good, clean soil, alive. So the minister asked the congregation, What can we learn from this demonstration? A little old lady in the back of the church quickly raised her hand and said, as long as you drink, smoke, and eat chocolate, you won't have worms. There you go. I like that. We are going, Beth has been doing an amazing job of revamping our website, making it easy to find things, and much more easily manageable and maneuverable, and etc., all that kind of good stuff. So all you people on YouTube, you're going to see it right here for the first time, and all you are going to see it for the very first time. You want to turn that center light out? Actually, turn all the lights out. Jan, let's get those. There we go. Should be up there in a minute. There we go. And she's going to kind of show you how to maneuver a little bit. Obviously, it's thedivinefellowship.com. And drop down menus. And she's going to go to the calendar first, I think. Okay.
Mary Lou set up the calendar, so Mary Lou gets credit for calendar.
Yes, she does. Mary Lou set up the calendar. So it's
Look at that.
neat to find. Pretty cool, huh? So all the information you need, and of course the calendar on here should be up to date, and of course you click on things and the information is right there about it, where you can find things. So if you want to know ARE is there, what the time is, and different information, and a website to get to it. Intuitive Tarot, same thing. So, I mean, very, very cool. And now I think she's going to probably show, past services. All right, so this is where you can go to get some of our services that we've been recording for how many years?
Since 2013.
2013 we've been recording services. So you can go all the way back, but and different categories. So, I mean, you can actually find things. It's very, very cool. And then Janice's blogs, Spiritual Insights. They're all categorized, somewhat categorized. And the last few have nice pictures, and then you can go and actually get older ones. I mean, you could start your day reading some of these things. Actually, you could read one at every meal if you wanted, but lots of stuff there. And the blogs and the ancient ones also, these go back many years. So
2016 is all we have.
it's all that we have, and there's 2015? Okay, well, hey, 4 years, that's enough. It's still an awful lot of stuff. Same thing with the ancient ones, you know, you could certainly read them. And it's great information. It's great things to try to help you on your journey. And then homepage, of course, and the expo information. As much up-to-date information as we've got, we have here for the expo. We're still working on that, I think, a little bit, but there's our new logo for the Healing Light Expo, 20th annual, April 4th and 5th. And of course, you could click there and go directly to the website. Could you show us the, I think it's on our homepage, the link for donations? We don't talk about that too often, but I know there's a link, and it actually works. Here's our little church. So anybody on YouTube that sees things and like to help out if possible, donate, and it actually works. Yeah, it wasn't working for, I don't know, a year or two, so. So.
Awesome.
Cool, and a little bit, yeah, all kinds of stuff, and that was a picture of Dan even. Picture of me. There's Janny. So, Amazon Smile with a, yeah, great. So if you can do anything on Amazon, do it on Amazon Smile and put us in there. We actually get a 0.5%, and I think they're increasing that, if I'm not mistaken. like to 1 or whatever. That would be nice. So I know it's going up. So we get a check about every quarter. That's cool. As long as we're talking about this and donating and everything, I know that a lot of the people out in the Hanford reservation, as they would call it, have this time of year, they kind of are starting to highly recommend that you do United Way. And so if you do United Way and you don't have a favorite charity, we'd like to ask that you put the Divine Fellowship in there, because again, we get a couple checks a year from kind individuals out in the area that have listed us as their United Way sponsor. So, cool. Is that it?
That's it. And if
Outstanding.
anybody has any feedback or things that they're not finding.
Here's my feedback. Thank you. That was absolutely wonderful. All right, I got a song all queued up. Yes?
Don't forget Brock adds stuff every week.
Yep. I thought you were just crying at my singing.
You have a lovely voice, Mr. Phil. Oh, this didn't get to go around. The sigils for doing stuff, situational sigils. Read the little clip and sign up for it. It's going to be awesome. Sorry, I'm not giving that more time. Well, here we are. Have this much I want to share with you, this much time. And I'm not, and it'll probably change. And I'm not sure where to start, to be honest with you. Where I thought I was going to start doesn't seem right. So let me start here. You remember last week, was it last week? Time flies, I have no idea where I am. We did the Psalms 23 and we changed I encouraged you to change the words so they would fit for your life. This one was handed in to me by somebody who did that. And I want to read it to you. The Lord is my very best friend, the one I can trust. We meet up daily in a safe and quiet place so we can talk undisturbed as long as we desire. Our visits bring me healing within my being, allowing me to choose my path with joy and confidence as it was meant to be. Throughout my journey, whether valleys or mountains, I know He is close by me. Whenever I lose my footing or get off the beaten path, He's quick to lend a hand to steady myself, and together we can embrace life. I'm enriched with the knowledge that He allows me to shine even in my doubts. His love, advice, and guidance flows from my head to my toe. I experience an endless supply of joy. Whenever I need my friend, He's waiting for me with a heart full of love, willing to listen. I choose to walk in His garden forever. I'll give you 3 guesses who wrote that one. It was May. It was May. Doesn't that sound like May? Yes. Yeah. But it might not sound like you. I've got sheets in the back again. If you'd like to revise Psalms 23 for yourself, just to make that personal experience between you and the Lord, whatever that looks like for you. It's extremely valuable. Can you imagine waking up to this in your heart every day? Or something like it that also blesses you? How cool is that? And we get to do that. We get to do that. And the reason I'm encouraging you to do that is most of us have rewritten the 23rd Psalm in a negative form. We perceive God as not as a shepherd or a guide or a mentor, but as a taskmaster, a judge. So by rewriting it into words that fit for us, then we can shift out of that perspective. Because that perspective keeps the lights. Let's turn the center one on and see how we do. Lights. There we are. Hello. I have no idea what I was talking about. Lights went on and the lights went off. I don't know. Welcome to my world. It's just been one of those days. So, I've been reading a couple of books lately. One of them is called The Happiness Trap. and how we can get stuck in thinking that we should be happy and we're not, so we think we're bad, we're not doing it right. And then my brother shared with me some audio tapes on direct awakening. And both of those have some interesting concepts. And I was struck by the similarities between those and some of the things I've been sharing with you here in the last few months. And one thing that Craig Hamilton said, ego knows it cannot survive a spiritual path, so it sends feelings and thoughts of fear and doubt to stop you. Doesn't that ring true for you? And then the happiness trap, Russ Harris talks about the thinking mind and the thinking self and the feeling self, and then the observer. And the thinking self is it gets hooked into the ego and thinks, well, overthinks. Am I the only one guilty of overthinking something? And then when there's overthinking, then feelings come up with that. And then I look at the feelings and I judge them. Am I the only one that does that? Let me give you an example of that. We had a board meeting on Friday night. So on my calendar it says 6. I typed it in wrong. Should have been 5. So I was late. So we had our board meeting, everything's fine. So I go to bed. I'm laying there going, I'm the worst minister ever. I was late for a board meeting. Why do I even exist? You know, I can laugh at that now, but at the time, do you ever think that stuff like to yourself? What happens here is our ego buys into the lie and feeds on itself. And then it's like, well, yes, that's true because I feel so bad. It must be true because I feel bad. And if I feel bad, then I must be horrible. Well, I have to stop those feelings. So either play a video game for 14,000 hours or eat too much or exercise too much. Well, that's not going to be an option for me, but it might be for somebody. Or, whatever. We do all these things to try to block that away from us because our mind gets caught up in that. We are going to have feelings. It's like your garden. If you have a garden, you will have weeds. I'm sorry. It just happens. Weeds happen. If you're walking in this mortal form, you will have feelings. And you will have judgments of those feelings. It just happens. The trick is, what are we going to do about it? How are we going to handle that? And being aware of that. It took me quite a few minutes actually, to back out of that and go, okay, that's just a feeling. It's not necessarily the truth. It's just a feeling. The feeling feels really strong, and I can buy into it as truth, because that's what ego wants me to do. Ego wants me to buy into that, because then I'll be small, and I won't take any risks, and I'll be little, and I won't make a difference in the world. So who am I going to listen to? Ego? Or am I going to move out of ego into a different perspective? And when we move into that different perspective, we're moving into that space of sacred observer. And the sacred observer is different than the thinking self. The thinking self looks at something and goes, oh my God, that's terrible. Or it processes data. That's part of its job as well. But when that thinking self observes things, it can't help but put stuff in judgment. And then when we're in judgment, then those negative feelings bubble up, and then that intensifies the judgment, and then pretty soon we're out of control. We've lost our sacred space. We've lost the journey on the sacred path. Now the really cool thing is you can't get lost unless you let yourself, unless you choose to stay lost. Calling ourselves back with this sacred observer now, the sacred observer doesn't have judgment. And here's the thing. I wish you could just get what I'm getting because I can't say the words for it. Let me try. Are you ready? Here goes. Okay. So how you perceive God, creator, higher power, whatever that is for you, how you perceive God is extremely important. If you believe God, higher power, all that is this terrible taskmaster, you're going to have a hard time moving into sacred observer. Because a sacred observer is the divine aspect within you. And if you're disconnected from the divine aspect, your connection, your understanding, your awareness is going to be all filtered with you. Not that ego's a bad thing, but ego has its place. Ego keeps us from wearing plaids and stripes. Thank God for ego. Because it goes, that's not good. Might not want to do that. So it's important to have that. But at the same time, when it rules our world, it tells us lies, and we buy it. If you've bought into the lie that you're not good enough, who told you that? Did your divine self tell you that? No. Ego did. Because ego judged you according to what you think is perfect, or what you should be. Thank you, ego, for doing that. I think I'll step out of that. Here's the thing. Phil and I were talking about this earlier. If I'm wanting to do something, there's this theory of you can do anything if you try hard enough, if you put yourself into it. If you really want to, you can. Unless you're just not. I could have a desire to be an operatic singer. But if I don't have the willingness to train for that, I'm never going to get there. If I don't have the natural ear for that, I'm never going to get there. So want is not enough. So wanting to be something other than what we are, I want to be what that person is. They've got their shit together. Their stuff together. Sorry, YouTube. I'll get a little fired up. The edit button goes off. I don't know.
Still learning how to bleep things out.
Bleep! Oh, good. Shannon, she thinks she can bleep that.
I'm learning.
She's learning. I'm such a good teacher. Aren't you glad you have the opportunity to learn some new skill as a result of my babbling? But I might want to look like that person because I think they're perfect or they have their stuff together. But I'm not them. And what makes them happy and glowing and vibrant and alive might not make me happy, glowing, vibrant, and alive. I've got to know what makes me vibrant, happy, glowing, and alive. And then pursue that. And pursue that. Because ego wants us to stay small. Ego is not going to tell you what makes you happy. Ego is going to tell you what will make you feel safe. But feeling safe isn't safe. It's a fake feeling. Fake news. Fake news, people. Our ego is telling us a lie. Because we don't live in this happy space. What we do is we experience life little tiny small. Because ego is prompting us to look at ourselves with judgmental eyes. And our divine self is looking at us and saying, no, love yourself. Bring compassion into that. Bring a new awareness into that. So let's get real. Not that we haven't been real before, but this is real stuff. Every day, our mind is telling us stuff that isn't true. And every day we have a choice to believe it or not believe it. And every day that we absent ourselves or divorce ourselves from divine connectedness, ego wins. So when we define divine, the divineness or divine nature, what are the first things that comes up to you in your mind? When you think of divine, what do you think? Acceptance. There is a part of you that is accepting. When you look at other people and they're struggling, do you judge them and think they're terrible? No, you're one of the most accepting people I know. Isn't it hard, though, to accept yourself? because our ego gets in the driver's seat rather than divine nature. When divine nature steps in, then it accesses this higher awareness that drives our life in a whole different direction. Yes?
Limitless.
Limitless. Now, let's face it. This physical form has limits. But our ego puts tremendous limits on who we are, what we can do, what we're capable of, when the divine self doesn't look at life with those limits. And we can live a limitless existence without fear drawing the line. Yeah, there's things physically that gravity is going to take over. I can take a flying leaf off a 10-story building, but gravity is going to, I'm limited by that physical experience of that. But that doesn't mean I can't soar as a human being. That human consciousness that is aware of divine connection can soar no matter what's going on in the world. What else about divine? Yes? Unconditional love. And how do we think about that for ourselves? No. Well, I'll like myself when I get a few more pounds off, or I'll like myself when I get that task done, or I'll get to be happy when this or that happens. No. That divine nature loves now. See, we get ourselves caught up in this judgment thinking, and we either look at everything we've ever done wrong in our world. When I got started on that mental trap on Friday night, everything that I did in this world that I thought was wrong or that I could have done better was thrown in my face. See, here's evidence. Here's proof you're no good. Here's proof you're no good. Here's proof you're no good. Stop. Then the other side to that coin is then we look at all the things those people did to me. Oh, that person said some really hurtful things, and they're so mean, and we go over and over and over and over, and we torment ourselves with this stuff, don't we? Tell me I'm not the only one, please. But we get to stop. We get to make a new choice. We get to do it differently when we step into this space of sacred observer. One of the things that Russ Harris said in the happiness trap is that when we can use, he didn't call it sacred observer, for him it's observer. When the observer looks at things, it can say, oh, thank you, mind, for bringing that to my attention. Oh, I appreciate you doing that. I'm going to do this over here now. The sacred observer brings this whole other level of this expanded awareness into looking at a situation, whether it's something somebody did to me or something that I feel like I didn't do perfectly. And the sacred observer brings all these divine qualities into that situation. A few weeks ago, I talked about how you can unlock things. Remember that one? If you don't, check it out on YouTube. It's all good. When we unlock this potential that's here for us, we have access to these deep pools of energy, deep pools of awareness, deep pools of compassion we didn't even know were possible. How many people saw the movie Dune? Dune? They were they're on this dry planet, and the worms come up and eat them. It's terrible stuff. And they whisper in their minds, and it's terrible here. But anyway, so at one point in this thing, the hero of the show is shown these vast pools of water underground. And as I was doing a meditation this week, I was shown these vast pools of energy that we have access to. But only the sacred observer has access to them. The judgmental, critical mind does not. The ego-driven lies don't have access to this energy. Wouldn't we all like to have more energy in our world? Yeah, I would. But to access these pools is standing in the place of the sacred observer grants us access to the pools of living light. We talked about the waterfalls of light. There's pools of living light these waterfalls come from. And we can access that. And there's deep power here. Deep power to change our lives, to change the direction of our lives, to change who we are, to change our world. It is in that space that we make a difference. That's what we came here to do, to make a difference. So I want us to look at that. I want us to do a guided meditation now. And I want us to access this. So, hold on a second. All right. So have you got a situation in your awareness, where you feel less than? Or you feel like not good enough? Or you feel like you're struggling? Any place in your life where you feel like you're struggling? Everybody got something? Everybody have something that comes to mind? No, my life is perfect. I think the hard part is choosing one rather than choosing all of them. I'd like you to choose one as we go into this guided meditation. And let's do a brief relaxation process, and then I'm going to walk you through accessing. Wait, we're not done. Hold on. There's more that they would like me to share with you about the sacred observer. Does anyone have a question about the sacred observer? Yes.
How did you get out of that criticizing yourself the other night?
By using sacred observer.
You just chose to be the sacred observer.
I chose to be the sacred observer and
just
observe
set down all
myself.
those judgments.
Well, I just observed that they were there. You know, I didn't fight them. Because in the fight, ego wants to win. And so if I'm fighting it, then I'm not in sacred observer. That's what they wanted us to know. Thank you for that question. So getting into the space of sacred observer, there's peace, vitality, courage, expanded awareness, and compassion. All of them are imbued in this sacred observer. And knowing that you can have a feeling and you can have a thought at the same time, right? You're not your feelings and you're not your thoughts. You're the one having them. And so as you observe that you're having a thought or a feeling, then that gives you a bit of space, the sacred moment where you can access this higher energy. Any other questions?
I think it's kind of like, as you're saying, it's like lucid dreaming.
Lucid dreaming. Yes, but more real, because we can be there
Yeah.
all the time.
Right,
Yes.
right.
Question.
As you move into the sacred observer, is it different for everybody how they do that?
Well, my first response to that is probably.
So that would be my question is, does everybody know how to go into those?
Well, and that's the really good question. And the answer to that is stepping into divine energy. Yes.
I go to the bookcase.
Oh, you have a sacred bookcase that you.
No, just a bookcase that I go to there and I watch myself. And that bookcase is with me wherever I am.
Yeah.
But that's my process.
Yeah.
To where I can see it as Spirit would have me see it
Gotcha.
and sort it out.
Gotcha. So she walks into a place where there's a bookcase, and then she watches herself
I
in
sit on top of
that.
the bookcase.
Okay, so just right now, can you observe yourself in your body? Can you be the observer? Just notice yourself. If you're noticing yourself with judgment of, gee, I could have lost those 4 pounds. I don't know why I didn't, get better sleep last night. I should have gone to bed early. If you're judging, you're not a sacred observer. You're an observer. Sacred observer is a higher energy vibration. And so the process I'm going to walk you through is a way to do that, a way to get into the sacred observer. If you have a way that seems better for you, do that. But the first thing is, who is God for you? If God is a horrible taskmaster, this is not going to work. Never. It's never going to work. When have you ever felt inspired? How many people paint or try? How many people write? How many people sing? How many people go boating? How many people run? How many people garden? Okay, any of those situations put you in this sacred space. Because when you're in that sacred space, you're doing what you choose to do. You're choosing 100% in, and you're doing that with this inspired, connected sense, right? If you're not doing something that brings that inspiration to you, please look at that. Because you're short-circuiting your life. You're living in this space that is all judgment. How painful. So when you're in that state of whatever it takes you to get there, when you're in that state of inspiration, what does that feel like? Euphoric. Timeless. Expansive. What was what? Enlightened. Joyful. And it I want to live there. We get to. We get to more and more. And when ego pulls us out, we go, oh, look at that. We're not, and then we can move back. Everything we do can come from this state of being if we allow it, if we're conscious. But we get an autopilot, and sometimes being an autopilot is beneficial because, not everything requires 100% of our attention all the time. Oh my gosh, am I brushing that little tooth just right? But at the same time, bringing conscious awareness into the important things of our life. So having that balance. So you all understand what that expansiveness feels like. Now know that's where your Creator exists. And that when you get into that space, you're in that conscious awareness link to Creator. That divine expression of who we really are. And what's wonderful is this being, this part of your being, is not damaged by life at all. Whatever happened to you, whatever somebody said or did that was painful and hurt you, never touched your sacred observer. Didn't touch it. It's unscathed. Can you imagine being able to move into that place where all those wounds no longer affect you? You're unscathed. You're pure, whole, alive. That's your rightful state of being. That's my rightful state of being. And we can get there should we choose. Now let's take a look at our making sure. Okay, we're ready to proceed. Is there any other questions? You pray for me, right? This is hard work. It's hard, but not hard. Challenging. It's challenging to get out of my own way and just allow the process to unfold. See if there's anything else I want you to know first. I think we're good. Yes?
I do move into that spot, and it's like watching a movie.
Mhm.
And then when I see the situation that had been causing me concern or distress, then I sometimes use light to dissipate it or flame to, like if it's in the past, I can burn it to ashes, so that's my process.
Gotcha. Gotcha. This is a powerful tool. And this is not just something, oh, isn't this lovely? Yes, I get it, I understand. This is something we can use every day, all day long. Because guess what? We're going to slip in and out of the sacred observer. We're going to step in and out of our sacred path all day long. It's like, Phil and I were talking about this earlier, it's like gardening. If you have a garden, you will have weeds. And you can deal with them as they come up, or you can ignore them, and then there's a bigger job to do. But guess what? There's always going to be weeds there. If we get furious at the weeds because they're there, we're wasting sacred energy. If we get furious at life because it's a challenge, we're wasting sacred energy. So this moving into a sacred space allows us to heal past, present, future. So let's do the guided meditation now. I'd like you to take a deep breath in and exhale. Lights, please, Mr. Phil. Another deep breath in and exhale. Do we need these curtains closed? Does anyone need them closed? Okay. One more deep breath in and exhale. Allow yourself to go to center, the center of your being. In the center of your being, there is deep awareness, deep wisdom. And you can allow yourself to tap into that right now. Notice that you have a physical form, and notice that you're noticing. Notice that maybe you have feelings right now. Maybe confusion, or I don't know what she's going to say next, or gosh, I wish she'd make her point. You know, what are you feeling? Notice that your feelings are feelings and you're noticing them. And now allow yourself to take a little walk, and you're going to find yourself in a beautiful garden. And the master gardener has already pruned things and weeded things and cleaned things. It's beautiful. Nothing is out of place. Every plant is thriving and flourishing because it's right where it needs to be. Shade plants have plenty of shade. Plants that love sun have plenty of sunlight. Plants that need lots of water have plenty of water. Plants that need to have their feet a little drier, their roots a little drier, they're in a perfectly well-drained space. And that same master gardener wants you to have the environment that is right for you, where you can thrive, where you can flourish. So allow yourself to find your way to a park bench in the middle of the garden. And there will be a fountain nearby. And rather than a fountain of water, this is a fountain of light. And as light flows up and out of this fountain, it flows through little canals, little channels to every plant. So every plant is getting this light energy. And now notice that as you sit on this bench, you too are accessing this light energy. And now bring your awareness to where you're looking at yourself on the bench. And notice the one that is noticing is all light. all light, all compassion, all love. There's no judgment of the one sitting on the bench. If you're finding yourself in judgment, reach out and touch that fountain of light and draw that light into your being. And allow yourself to raise your vibration into this level of higher awareness, expansive awareness, where sacred observer dwells. And as you're noticing yourself sitting on the bench, notice that the person that's sitting on the bench has this life situation that's a challenge for them. Hold them in high esteem. Hold them in love. Hold them with compassion in your awareness. And as you do so, notice that the bench that they're sitting on begins to glow. And there's a beam of light coming from the ethereal realms and bathing this person and their situation in this living light of love. Notice that. As a sacred observer, just notice that. Take note. Oh, look, there's light being poured down on that person. And light being poured down on their situation. And notice that as you as sacred observer are glowing even more brightly, tapping into even more energy, and you too are in the flow of this bright, sparkling light from the ethereal realms. There is a divine source that is all love all the time and wants, desires, hopes for you to find the opportunity to thrive. That they're going to bring things into your world that gives you the opportunity to thrive, to have an expansive awareness, to be able to take courage and take the next step, whatever that might be, even if the next step is wait. Now notice that there's connectors between you as the sacred observer and the you sitting on the bench. Now take this sacred observer and go step back into the person sitting on the bench. And your perspective of whatever challenge or difficulty takes on a different look. Feels different now. Take a deep breath in and exhale and allow that sacred observer just to settle in. It's really a part of who we are. It's your rightful state of being. It's who you came here to be. Everything else is just stuff. And now the Master Gardener appears. A kind person, kind being. Is delighted to see you, he, she, whatever. And they have a gift for you. Whether it's a word or a thought or a feeling or some symbolic object. Receive that gift. Allow the sacred observer to receive that gift. Allow the person sitting on the bench to receive that gift. You don't even have to understand what it is. Just know that whatever you are requiring in this moment is being gifted to you. And if it is a symbolic object, even if you don't understand what it is, know that that information will come to you and you can just receive and be blessed. Now, you may have a question about your circumstance, your situation. And notice who's asking the question. Is it the person sitting on the bench, or is it the sacred observer? But ask your question to the Master Gardener. And know that the answer for you, the directive for you, the encouragement for you will be given, whether right here, right now, or within the next 3 days. You will have clear guidance and direction. And that your sacred observer will notice it and bring it to your attention. And now it's time for us to leave this place. And you may want to leave a little token of this event here on the bench. Perhaps it's a coin. Perhaps it's a garden tool. Leave something here as a token that you were here and you experienced this. So that the next time you come to this garden, it will reconnect you with this experience. So leave your token. And you as the person, and you as sacred observer, allow yourself to find your way out of the garden and back into the here and now, and back into this time and space, back into your physical form, holding on to every aspect of this experience. Noticing the physical form, noticing your awareness, and noticing the sacred observer, all here, all present right now. Take a deep breath in. Exhale. I want to wiggle fingers, wiggle toes. And Mr. Phil, if you would join me up front, please. As he's making his way forward. Well, another day. Another day, another time. Communion is a physical manifestation of our divine connection. Allow your sacred observer to participate. Allow your sacred observer to notice. Are you going to choose the unleavened bread, the gluten-free, or the animal crackers? Whatever your choice is, it's fine. Notice what works for you. Join me in prayer, please. Loving Spirit of light, thank you for being with us. Thank you for reconnecting us with our sacred observer. Thank you for allowing us to reconnect with you in a higher, better way. Keep us tuning in. Keep us inspired. These things we pray in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen.
As that continues around, just join me in prayer again, please. Loving Spirit of light, as we drink this in, help us to drink in life. All of it. Help us to drink it in with a sacred awareness, this expansive awareness that empowers us, gives us courage. Walk with us in all things. We can't do it alone. These things we pray in the name of Jesus. Amen. Go. At least I didn't kick the bucket.
True. But this is, since we're standing right here and she kicked it, this are recycling batteries. So if you have batteries to recycle, not car batteries, but tiny batteries. So I have a big box at home now. William, would you like to do this?
I'm Sandy. So in this infinite energy that we just experienced, touching the truth of who you really are, the abundance that is always present, always. It's only the ego that needs to give. It's always worried about getting. Oh, what can I get? What do I need? I'm missing this. I need that. But the truth of who you are, the limitless light that you are, needs nothing. So connect the truth of you with what you give today.
Thank you, sir. Does anyone have any questions or comments about their experience of that?
Well, looking at my Sacred Observer, hello, I noticed that it wasn't human, and it looked much larger in face and, whoa, okay. And claws, but it still like kind of worked the energy with an extreme gentleness. And when we were gifted with from our gardener, I got like the tiny little hand spade. But when the Sacred Observer grabbed onto it, it turned into a blade. And what I left back was one of my little shards of kyanite. But when I placed it on the bench turned into kyanite.
What's the energy of kyanite?
It is a communication stone.
So,
There we go.
So having your Sacred Observer as something non-human allows you to perceive it in a way without judgment. Because we judge. So it's a beautiful way for your subconscious awareness to shift out of that and take you completely out of that judging mode. That makes sense? Mm-hmm. Any other questions? Way in the back. We need that other microphone. I hope Phil can get that fixed. Phil, can we have the other one? This is going to buzz.
I can just talk.
Come up here. Follow me. Just follow me. I don't know if you can get past it. There we go. This is a safe zone. Nobody has any rocks in here, right? Nobody's going to throw a rock. You're good.
Okay. I had a wooden cross similar to this was given to me, but I don't know, the cross, I just don't look at it as like Christ died for us, you know? That's why it's like, ooh, when I received it.
Okay. So there's still some judgment attached to the cross for what it has been promoted to mean in the world. But your soul is saying it means something different for me. Okay? So as a gift, it is symbolic of faith. Okay? So the faith that you have isn't about, how can I say this differently? Okay, for me, I don't like to look at, of all the things Jesus did, He spent just a few hours on the cross. And that's what modern religion has taken and said, this is it, this is the yeah, there was significance in the moment. But that's not what he's about. He's about the resurrection, for heaven's sakes, literally. And so you're moving into the space where I'm not going to carry shame anymore. I'm not going to carry the blame anymore. I'm going to let that crap go. Sorry. And I'm going to hang on to this ascension, because it's about ascension. It's not about you're such a bad person that Jesus had to die for you. No, this is about you're such a wonderful person that he rose for you. And that shifts everything, does it not?
Yeah.
Welcome to Followers of the Way. That's how it is. I get a little spun up on that, as you can see.
Like infinitive energy.
Exactly.
Sometimes when I look at it, it's like energy's going this way, energy's going that way.
Absolutely. And you have access to that. Not because you're a bad person, but because you're amazing. And don't forget that. Right? Right?
So mine was I was not enough. That was not.
Yeah. See? And her situation was I'm not enough. So you just nailed it, girl. There you go. Cool. Anybody else want to come up front? Are you brave?
One of the things that when I was the sacred observer, it kind of reminds me of when I'm in a dream state. And I'm in two different places. I am the victim, the person going through the experience, and then there's the observer. And I'm watching myself. And it's just, it's a really cool thing. But this, which is what I was doing with this sacred observer. To be able to look down at myself and know the struggles that I'm going through. And then the sacred observer is reminded by all the beautiful people who've given me, who've listened and given me advice. These things are coming out. And so I'm able to look at myself and say, it's going to be okay. You're going to be all right. You're going to be able to get through this, and you're going to be able to do it with love. Okay, so, and then to go back to myself, I was like elated. I was like, this is going to be okay. Yeah. I'm going to make it. And the gift that I received was just, it was like a light, it was energy, but energy that, not energy that makes me over-elated, where it kind of feels fake, but energy that gives me courage and and takes away the fear.
Sustain.
Yeah. And the gift that I gave back was a big thank you and a big hug. So.
I love it. I love it. So, good point there. How do you feel, because your sacred observer is now active and awake in your world?
Awesome.
Doesn't that feel really darned awesome? Yes, ma'am?
I just had a question about the gifts.
Till the microphone gets fixed.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, so I wanted to ask your interpretation because
There we
too
go.
far. Oh, there? Okay. Sorry. So the gift given to me was an emerald ring with diamonds and a band of sapphires. So like an engagement ring and a wedding ring, it looked like. And so I just put it on my left hand. And then I was giving back a crystal ball. And so I was presenting it, and it was taken and then given back to me.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that's what I'm...
So this wedding band and wedding set that you were given, this is that bond, that connectedness.
Oh, okay.
So your soul is acknowledging this forever bond, this forever connectedness between you and spirit. and you were giving the crystal ball, this is a gift of being able to perceive, and they
Yes.
gave it back. You're going to use that in a higher level.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
While you're
Thank
here,
you.
that's for you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yes, thank you. Okay, so if you have other questions, you can check with me after services. For now, let's circle up. You know, May is not here.